Yeah, we'll be back home next week. So
Cool.
for a couple
Oh
days.
yeah, yeah, that's right. You guys coming out for opening night?
Yeah. So we
How does
fly
that work?
we fly out or we land Wednesday night at like 10.
Yeah,
Um and then opening night's Thursday.
yeah.
So I think we have an appointment Thursday afternoon at like 2, and then we'll go to the game, and then Friday I think we're just gonna do some stuff in Tacoma. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with ZTS, where we as brothers search for ways to share our voices while having a good time just talking, having those real talk conversations, our shared experiences, and reacting to random topics and articles. As we always say, we all have something to share, and we look forward to sharing and building that community of stories that we can all relate to. Now enjoy the episode.
What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
Yeah. How's your day going so far?
So far, so good. It's one of those like weird days. You know what I mean? Where it just seems like short but long, but long but short kind of thing. That feeling of like things keep popping up, but then things are weird. But then I don't know. This it's hard to explain. This is a weird day.
Yes and no. I think this is the first time I would have to disagree and say today was a pretty like good chill day. Productive. Work meetings went very well and productive. Um, and yeah, after our episode, just chill night. Keep
Yeah,
it chill. Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, I hear you. I was more so saying like it
yeah,
was a chill day, but it was a weird day. So
yeah,
I don't know. It just went oddly fast in some parts and oddly slow in other parts, and then
yeah, yeah. I
uh,
feel you. Usually,
yeah.
these are the days that I usually go in office and I get in so early. My days just fly by typically on these days, and then it
Mhm.
slows down at night. So I'm kind of at that slow period. That's why like we were thinking of like moving it, and I was just like, I got a little bit of time to squeeze. So if we could knock it out real quick, it'll open up the rest of our week.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Um, and if Dustin's gonna listen to this, it's a great night right now because he's not on. No, I'm just kidding.
I
We
know
miss the guy.
it's always his stuff that ends up
Yeah,
being the weird thing when he can't show up.
I know, man. But no, it's all good. Yeah, man. Other than that, it's nice and sunny over here. At least, for the next couple of days.
Yeah, before that rain
I
comes
mean,
back, right?
yeah. I mean, you got that California weather, so it's nice out there right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been hitting low 70s last week.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to rain Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But then it's gonna go back to like cloudy and sunny. So it's kind of
Yeah.
so yeah, it's not too bad. But I just got back from East Coast too, so it was kind of like cold over there. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
You didn't hit up Dustin on the way over there?
Nah, I was one of the people that had a direct flight in, so it feels
Nice.
like everyone else had not great flights.
Oh man. I mean,
Like,
speaking of flights, yeah, I mean like, do you get nervous hearing all the news and stuff like that about like, all the malfunctions, doors flying off, panels flying off?
yeah, it's kind of one of those things, and I think eh, I don't know, it
I mean,
worries you, but it doesn't worry you at
yeah,
the same time because, like,
yeah,
you know, what are the odds of that happening all the time? I mean,
yeah,
they pulled off all the planes or um, off of production, not production, but like operating just to look
right,
over and make sure they're good and everything. So
right.
yeah,
To
no,
be
I
fair
think
though, the stats say that um it's just like we talked about, right? Like social media, right? Like we always talk about other things about social media amplifying um bad news, right? You know, I mean, so they say like statistically is our generation worse than previous generations? Uh plus minus, right? You would agree, and then stats say that, but it's because social media and everything amplifies it, so it makes it seem like it's more prevalent, more often, more
Hmm.
worse than before. And the same with uh all these airplane things. I mean, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen again. Hopefully they clean it up because I mean that's a scary thing to do. You're literally in a box,
Oh
and
yeah,
you literally can't do anything.
yeah. It's one of those things too, because like I've seen a lot of it lately, but it's how much of it falls back onto the manufacturer versus
Yeah,
the folks that own it.
the
Then you know what I
engineers.
mean,
Yeah,
the engineers
yeah,
and stuff. So I think what was the one thing? Obviously the Max with the door flying off with the loose things. That was obviously a
yeah,
manufacturer thing. But like recently, what was it? I think it was it at SFO? I think it was at SFO in San Francisco that one of the planes had
yeah, yeah,
taken off and one of the wheels fell off of the
yeah,
plane and crushed a couple cars and stuff. But they were like, "Oh, we're gonna, this is all on the manufacturer, whoever it was,
right.
Boeing, or for instance." But they were like, "We sold that plane to you 10 years ago. That is up to your team's maintenance team to do the regular upkeep."
Right, right.
So it's like, at what point, do you like a
Yeah,
wheel
all of it,
falls off
man.
something for 10 years?
Yeah,
Like, that's not on that's not like Subaru, like, hey, that's your fault that my wheel fell off. Like,
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's my fault because I didn't do
Right,
routine maintenance on it. So,
right, exactly. Yeah, man, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you know, um, we're a couple months out. I have a couple trips, 4 or 5 plane trips planned. Not too worried about it. Again, statistics, right? Knock on wood. But you know, like at the same time, this is a business. $1 billion, maybe $1 trillion business, right? This is bad news. This is one of those things where how sometimes bad news, any news is good news or like good exposure. This is not the exposure plane companies want. You know,
no,
nobody
absolutely not.
wants this. And so with all this, they're gonna get their shit together, and it will only get safer. Hopefully,
Yeah, right.
right?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
it's crazy because like
yeah.
I know we're talking about this stuff, but like, even in when I was at my conference, it's crazy. Like one of my colleagues, one of my, good friend, flew in
Yeah.
and she walked into the lobby and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to see you." And like, there's a group of us and we're like, "How's it going?" And she was like, "Well, I'm here." And we're like, "Yeah, that bad of a travel thing?"
Yeah.
And she was saying that like, because she was flying out of Colorado and she flew into either Baltimore or DC, can't remember which one,
Yeah.
as a quick layover, change of flight, and then that flew up to Rhode Island. Well, on the way to Rhode Island, because it was like windy and stormy that night, their plane got hit by lightning, and I
Oh
was
my
like, "Oh,
god.
geez." And she was like, "Yeah, it was such like a surreal experience. Like the plane shook and then it like hummed down to where like it almost sounded like it like powered off, and then
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
got right back up and running, kind of thing." She was like, it was a trauma bonding experience because like the people next to us were just like grabbing our arms and like everyone was screaming. And then the pilot comes over, he's like, "Yeah, so we just got hit by lightning, but don't worry, the plane's built for this." And I'm just like,
Right.
I mean, you have to consider the fact that yes, it's probably going to get struck by lightning every now and then,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
still it's kind of like not so reassuring because like you are in a big metal tube flying in the so you're like, "Oh God, that's the biggest
Right.
conductor of lightning." um and then it was just funny because like after they landed, then the folks on that plane, I knew two people on that plane, it was crazy, but they were
Right.
just like, the hostess or whatever was just like, or the stewardess was just like, "Well, we made it." And I was just like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious."
Jeez.
But
Um.
it's stuff like that, not necessarily even like
Yeah.
the horror stuff that we've heard with the plane, the doors flying off and whatever
Yeah.
it is, but or the window cracking or something. But I was just like, now that's actually fucking scary because that's Mother Nature.
uh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, like it's very, very little you can do up in the sky, you have to trust in the staff, right?
Oh,
Specifically the
absolutely.
captains, right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you heard in the news, but did you hear I think it was Indonesia. Um, like uh, it was already like I don't know 4 or 5 hour flight, but they doubled the time. And some passengers started realizing like, um, we've been on this plane for a little too long than we were supposed to, and they found out that both the captains and the co-pilot, the pilot and the co-pilot,
Yeah,
both fell asleep at the same time.
bruh.
Luckily, no one was harmed, but it was like they were on autopilot for like double the time they were supposed to be for their trip. And so it gets me laughing because it's like, when you're in the plane, God forbid, like, there's nothing we literally can do. Like as passengers, we have to trust the pilots. But then you got like some pilots who like both fall asleep. How
Yeah,
does that happen?
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, it's like the,
Um.
like the tragedies and stuff that happen, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that one, I mean, if you saw it, you probably know where like that, the pilot like had one of their daughter or their son or something in the cockpit or whatever. This happened
Mm.
years ago, but um, where like they like let them in the cockpit because they were like, oh yeah, see, this is what I do for work, and they hit a button and then they
Oh
like couldn't recover and then they crashed into the side of a mountain or
no!
something
I
or
did not
whatever.
hear.
And I
Oh,
was
I
just
mean,
like,
I think I've heard about a plane that crashed. I mean, there's so many stories about that, but
yeah, there's a lot of
no, no,
those.
I haven't heard that one specifically about like a daughter. She hit the
Yeah,
red button, huh?
yeah, or whatever button, and they were
Oh,
just like,
dude,
oh
no,
god, what are
I
you
haven't heard
doing?
that.
Don't touch those things.
Yeah,
And then yeah, they ended up going down later. Yeah, I was just like, oh
yeah.
geez, that's crazy.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of better news about airlines, though, I just read recently. Did you hear that? I don't know if you got dinged by this. Since you've been traveling a lot more than I have recently, but airlines are all upping their check bag fees. You
Yeah.
hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Like, yeah, like a lot of them are upping their fees. Even more specifically, not even just the airlines with the fees, but TSA. Did you hear that they're now cracking down on like fanny packs or like small third packs that you can carry? So like now they are like told to strictly force compliance of the strict 2 bag rule. That
Mm,
includes like grocery bags. So you know how like some people like for me, I know for me personally, I got my backpack, my duffel, right? Those are my 2 carry-ons.
hmm.
Or is it 2 carry-ons and a personal? I forgot.
No, it's
2 carry-ons and a personal, right? Well,
trying to think
uh,
here. No, I think
uh,
it's
one carry-on, one personal.
yeah, one carry on, one personal.
Okay. Well, anyways, like so I got my carry-on, right? And then I got my backpack, but I would also have my fanny pack, right? And
Hmm.
usually they bat an eye on that. I've been really creative lately where like I don't want to carry multiple things, so as to simplify it, I attach my fanny pack to my backpack, so it's like almost like another, pouch.
Yeah.
Um, but well, for at least for me, I have a rucksack, with like that cover over the opening, so I
Hmm.
can at least hide my fanny pack within that. But yeah, no, TSA is now like strictly abiding by the 2 bags rule. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I
Um,
know when I flew, I mean, like cross country, they were just like, remember, no changing seats, no extra bags, and da 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 da, because this is very
yeah,
like weight, whatever, like all
yeah,
of that. And it's just like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. Um,
yeah. I kind of just want to make it easy and just pay the baggage fees, put it all in out of my hands so that I could travel comfortably and lightly.
it's yeah, that's
Um,
why I check my bag most of the time.
yeah,
And honestly, like that's probably the best perk about having like my Alaska card when I fly
yeah,
Alaska because it's like free check bag.
right,
Um,
right.
so it's very nice in that regard.
Yeah,
Just because I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna check it and then I don't have to worry about it. I got my backpack and I'm good.
right. No, that's smart. I mean, like, yeah, I like it too. Just the convenience, don't have to carry it all around and just have my backpack on me.
Yeah.
Um, but I also heard, I haven't confirmed it yet, but they're not only are they upping the check bag fees, like the upfront fees, but I heard they were also lowering the cost of, like, if you're over the 50 pounds. You know if that's true?
I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I think on a recent trip coming back home from Colorado, um I think we were over by like 2 pounds or something like that.
Uh,
And I was like, and we weren't in a rush or anything, but I was like, fuck it, I'll pay it. Like, how much is it? The guy was like, the guy was like, hey man, are you sure about that? It's an extra $100 just for
oh
two
my
pounds
God.
over. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna pay that. But but like I was willing to pay, like, $20, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just take it. Cause like that's not worth my time. You know what I mean?
Right,
20
right.
bucks, right? But when he was like, dude, that's it's an extra $100. And I'm like, fuck. But I haven't experienced it yet, but I from that article that I read, so they're upping the check bag fee, like the
Mhm.
initial fee, but they're lowering like the overage fee. So hopefully that's true, because that might help out.
Yeah, I know. I try to bargain with them sometimes. I haven't had to do it in a
Yeah.
while, but like,
Yeah.
if like you're traveling with two people, it's like, oh, I'm like, hey man, I know I'm like a pound and a half over, but her bag is only 46. Can't we just call it even? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I
Oh, yeah, yeah.
mean? Because
That's
I'm
smart. I
like,
never thought that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you have two
Man,
check
game in the
bags,
system.
yeah,
Yeah.
hey, I'm just trying. I'm like, hey, look, we're together, and hers is
Yeah.
40, or like mine's 46, and hers is 51.
Yeah.
Like, can't
Yeah.
we just like call a spade and just be like, hey, we're good because there's two
Yeah.
bags and one's definitely way less.
Smart. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, trying to
Oh man.
bargaining, man. You gotta
Yeah.
sales
Oh man.
technique.
Yeah. No, I love that. Uh Another news, sticking to the airports. It's just a lot of airport, obviously you see all the social media, a lot of airplane news, right?
Yeah, it's a lot
Mostly
of
bad,
traveling
but
news.
yeah, but these are the interesting ones that I read. Um, Las Vegas. Did you hear? So speaking of their TSA, they are actually the first in the country to do a trial run of self-service screening. Have you heard about that? And
No.
this isn't global entry or the pre-check or whatever. This is not it. This is like literally TSA. So the article that I read, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's faster.
Yeah,
It's just more of like, you don't have to, like, I guess, speak to anyone. It's just like, going to self checkout, right? So
right.
it's not necessarily faster. It's just like for the people to, who wants to do self service. I'm actually interested to see the report of that. Like, it's happening right now, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, like, is it open to everyone or maybe like limited people so far? But that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty ingenious. Now, I am very curious, like, are they more strict of the screening process? Because I mean, come on, you know, you gotta keep things pretty safe. And I like to think airport's one of the safest place after you go through the gate, right? Or you're in the
Right.
gate. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to think so.
Yeah, you would like to
Um,
think that.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no. So I'm fascinated. I hope we get an update on that soon. So you hear it here first. Hopefully in the next couple months or maybe in a year, they'll spread out to more airports.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So here's another one. I thought this was pretty cool. Um, Switching gears to talking about the economy and buying homes, right?
Yeah.
So there was a recent survey that surveyed U.S. Citizens. I think mainly older Gen Zs to millennials, right?
Mhm.
This is not too big of a number. However, uh, this is a huge jump in the responses so far. So 15% of Americans currently have co-bought homes together. And now to be specific, these are non-romantic partners.
Hmm.
These are like friends, uh, creating a deal together and buying homes together.
Right.
Um, and then in the exact same survey of this partnership, 48% of people are saying that they're likely to do it, in the following years. But currently, 15% of Americans have co-bought homes together. What do you think? I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like in this economy, you almost have to, right? Because it's kind of funny. Like I saw a meme literally, I think it was today,
Yeah,
where this like just ladies just sitting there like at a bench or something in a park by herself staring off into space, and it was like the
yeah,
caption was like um me beating myself up for not working from the age of 5 until now so that I could afford to
yeah,
live in this economy.
yeah. Seriously, dude. I mean, okay. I own a couple homes,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying like it's easy to do, but one thing that I do realize, because I co-own these homes with my wife,
Right.
and I would say, hey, as well, I know you and Ali are really good, but in general, our our not even our friends, but like society, right? Like the men has this target on their shoulder where it's like, oh, um, if you're not making your wife a housewife, then you're a deadbeat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it has so much pressure, but like your partner should be your best friend, and you'll realize it's so much easier to get a loan to buy a home when it's multiple incomes. You know?
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, and but anyways, I personally vouch for this. Like that would be a good way to, because think about this. You and a couple friends buy a good property together, maybe a duplex, you know, that's
Yeah.
already, you already co-own the whole unit, and then you both live in separate units.
Yeah.
And then,
And I know
you
we've
may
talked about doing that too, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's still on the table. um and then like maybe one person can finally leave, and then like I don't know, they co-buy another property. Obviously, this is easier said than done. When you put a lot of money on the line for that, obviously there has to be like some sort of legal document, right?
Oh yeah.
Beyond the mortgage and beyond the trust deed of trust. Like, it's a lot. Like it takes a lot of trust and it takes a lot of legal work. But like if you know that you're barely gonna enter the market, why not do it with a trusted friend, maybe, or a trusted family member? Like,
Hmm.
um, like we know growing up, and I think you and I learned this really quickly. It's totally okay to ask for help, especially when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is pretty cool. I think this can help a lot of people get homes, and the sooner you do it, the sooner you can get to that dream home that you always want.
Yeah. You just gotta find the people you trust, man. That's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since Dustin's not here, we could end the last few articles on sports talk, because
oh yeah.
he's not here. I'll start with this one, then we could kind of like talk about catch up on the Hawks and stuff like that. But this one was an article that I just read recently. I don't know if you read this too. You probably do. You probably did. But you remember last year, the Chiefs game,
Yeah.
the coldest game of the year. Did you read
Mhm.
about this? 12 of the fans who attended that game
Yeah.
are now have to undergo amputation for frostbite. But apparently, these are the 12 people who were reported amputation. But that doesn't mean that they say that there's a whole number of unreported people who still got frostbite. You
Hmm.
know, it's just 12 that so far had to get amputation. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hey man, that's why I love football. But you always ask me all the time, hey man, I got tickets. You want to go to the Hawks game? I'm like, ah man, no. At least I'm upfront with you. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go to the game. Um, Not that we're gonna have the coldest game, ever in Seattle, but like,
Yeah.
still, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know,
no,
man. It's
I
crazy.
yeah, I mean, I've been to some cold games, but like nothing like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, this was Sub-Zero, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
this
I mean,
game,
like,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, I've run a race when it was like 11 degrees out before.
Jeez.
Um, and I mean, I still have all my limbs, but I don't know. I was also moving, whereas
Yeah,
football
yeah.
fans were just sitting in one spot. Um, yeah,
Like
so
doing
no,
jumping jacks or something.
it's just kind of crazy. Like I've been in
Yeah.
cold weather before. Um, it's like that one freeze we had a few years ago, right? Or got
Uh,
into
it was
the
a
single digits.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Oh, yeah. I think that was last year, maybe.
Was
No.
it last year? 2 years ago. Might have been
Yeah, it
2 years
had to be two
ago.
years ago. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It was like super cold. But then, super cold in Washington is like, well, at least the West Coast Washington is, I think it was like what? In the 20s? That was the coldest it got.
Nah, I think it got down to single digits depending on where you
Did
were.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
I think
man.
I think it was like 7 degrees for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean we
No,
stayed warm, but I had to go
yeah.
outside. Um
No.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, sorry for the fans. That's pretty intense. Hey, well, um, was it a Chiefs home game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the true spirit of being a sports fan, yeah, you lost some limbs, but at least the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you can say, I mean, you know how I feel. Um, I can't be a diehard fan anymore. I love the Hawks, but after a while, I'm like, hey man, I got no money in this. Like, y'all do what you got to do. But I'm not losing a limb, you know,
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever
for
be put into that position in Seattle.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's not like the fans, you know, purposely got themselves frostbite. I mean,
Oh
yes, it
yeah,
is the
no, for sure.
coldest game. It is the coldest game ever this year. However, they're also probably used to it because this is Kansas City, so
Yeah,
you're
it's the
probably used to these weather.
Midwest. You're used to it.
Yeah, but who would have thought that it would have been that bad? So I'm sorry to the fans.
Well,
You know,
I'm curious to look more into that in the sense of like, were these the people that had their shirts off? You know what I
yes,
mean?
right. Like the
Like,
Chicago Bear fans with the
yeah,
shirts off.
it's kind
Yeah,
of just
you're right.
funny because it's like you have to think about it that way too. I'm like, all right, any sane person probably would not have, or any sober sane person, right?
That's true. That's true.
Probably wouldn't have lost a limb out there, unless they were wearing basketball shorts and didn't have a t-shirt on or whatever it
Right.
was.
Right.
So I mean, I'm curious to see how many of the people that lost limbs were either drunk or they were just, trying to be hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm
like, oh,
tough.
this doesn't
Shirt
phase
off.
me, bruh. It does
Yeah.
not phase me. I'm gonna do it. And you
Yeah.
lose like a nipple or something. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
okay, bro, was that worth
Yeah.
it?
Just showed it. I mean, like, it gives me flashback to what was it, the Seahawks playoff game against the Lions at Detroit, where it was like one of the coldest playoff games ever. And
Yeah,
you remember it was DK, I think it was DK, Chris Carson, I forgot who else, but during warmups, they were like, shirtless.
yeah,
But you got to remember, folks, fans, yes, these players are showing off, but remember, they're only doing that for a short period of time. And then they're warming up to keep their body warm. And where they're sitting, like while like they're on the sidelines, there's heaters, you know? So, like I know like a lot of people, what is it? What's that called? Copying is flattery. What's that word?
yeah.
What's that saying? Yeah, yeah, when you
The
copy someone
best
that's
form
flattery
of flattery is
is imitation. Is that
imitation. I think, yeah, something like
why
that.
does that quote sound so wrong?
I mean,
Yeah,
it
but
probably
yeah,
is. We're probably saying it backwards.
yeah,
Imitation is the greater.
imitation's best form of
Yeah,
flattery.
yeah.
Why do I feel like it should be rhyming? I don't know, but it
Because we
sounds like
grew
it
up with
should
Dr.
rhyme.
Seuss, bro. That's what we
Yeah,
did. We
true.
grew up with Dr. Seuss, so everything has to rhyme.
Right. But, don't imitate the players during the coldest time on during a football game. They got heaters, man. So,
Sincerest form of flattery.
is imitation.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Still feels wrong.
That mediocrity can pay to greatness is the rest of it, but no one ever remembers.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that. I learned something new.
Yeah, that is the second half of that quote for those that did not know. Imitation
that's
is the
new to me.
sincerest form of flattery, that mediocrity can pay to greatness. No one ever remembers that second part.
So moving on. Just gonna throw this out there real quick before we wrap it up with the last discussion. But side note, Messi and Inter Miami undefeated. Oh well, they draw a couple times, but they have a
still
0.
undefeated.
Yeah, 0 in the loss column. And you know me, I don't pay for the Apple, but I always watch the highlighted games on YouTube because like basically they cut out all the mess and just I still watch it as if I'm watching it live. Like I'm all cheering when like Messi goes for a shot and it misses because that's one of the highlights. But dude, because there's a couple games when Messi's not playing and like they are shit. Even with two of the ex Barcelona players, not the new guy they just got. No, not Suarez.
Not Suarez.
The other two that came last year.
Yeah.
Even with those two, like Miami is shit without Miami. And the last game, Messi took a break, so he didn't play. But the first half was no Messi, no Suarez. But it was the other two guys. I forgot their names, man. But they're like legend players too. But anyways, dude, Miami sucks. Like they are not spaced out. They look playing American ball again instead of Spanish ball, right?
Mm.
And then Suarez came in the second half, and I gotta admit, I could see Miami taking on all prizes this year with just Suarez and Messi alone. Even without Messi, Suarez, he changed the dynamic of that front. And like, yeah, they went off to score like 3 goals or something with Suarez in there. Like he had an assist and 2 goals.
Yeah.
So Suarez, man, one of my favorite players too. But I didn't think he was going to be that good. I think you can tell that he can't play at a high level anymore. Like speed wise, he's very slow. However, his speed and technicality on MLS level is still like prime time type level, dude.
For sure.
It's so fun to watch him, man. I mean, it's even more fun to watch Messi because Suarez is way past his prime. He's like that old man coaching like little league soccer, but still got the skills to like shake the kids up. That's what it looks like from Suarez. But Messi, he's past his prime, but he's still all world level, you know? I mean, fuck, dude, the guy just won a World Cup, less than a year and a half ago. And he's still playing international and still doing well for, Argentina. So Messi is still, I like to use the analogy, prime Michael Jordan playing for a YMCA team. Like that's Messi right now. But Suarez, though, that's like, I don't know, a recently retired NBA player going to school, high school kids in the open gym at Y. Like, he's still got it. He's still got the NBA skill level, but he can't compete at the NBA level anymore. Yeah. Hey man, I haven't even been paying attention to our sounders. Like honestly, when I'm on YouTube and I see, because I follow MLS and it says, oh, here's your Inter Miami highlights. I'm like, fuck yeah, watch that shit and enjoy it. Yeah. I hope to see him live soon. It would be great.
Yeah, that would be dope. But
yeah,
I don't think we play them all that.
No, not this year
because they're on the other side, Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they play Miami at all.
No, we don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should check to
Um,
see. No, because it's mostly the Eastern teams that stay on the East and
right.
rarely play on the West. Same with the West.
Well, they played LA.
Yeah, they'll play like LAFC. Yeah, but
Yeah, but those are the big market teams. That's why.
right.
Yeah. Anyways, what's your thoughts on the quiet yet slowly hot feeling Seahawk free agency so far?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been some good moves. There's been some moves that I'm like, damn, I understand why, but that sucks. Just because cap space. But
Yeah.
no, I mean they've been pulling off some pretty decent moves. A lot of them are 1 year deals, obviously.
Right. They're prove
Um,
it deals. And
yeah.
I read an article recently where Seattle Report, I forgot who it was, a big one, not a big one, a popular one on Twitter. We still call it Twitter.
Hmm.
Um he was saying like um this is reminiscent of like 2010s John
Yeah.
Schneider, where he got his coach, which at the time was Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
He got his staff, and then John Schneider had more pull back then, and you know he basically freed up a lot of cap space. So what he was saying is that all these 1 year deals, um, and these restructures and these cuts, it's actually setting up the Hawks for decades and more of success. Like, and honestly, dude, some of the signings that they got two very underrated linebackers from last year, right? The guy from the Bills and the guy from
Miami.
Miami. Like their stats were still like top 10 linebackers. We got a couple really good safeties to play along Julian Love. We already know Julian Love is solid. And we got a lot of these like all these guys on 1 year deals because it's like prove it years, right? Like, hey, we're in a building process, you know, like it's a win-win for everyone. You know, you do good this year, you get a bigger contract, or you go to another team that gets you a bigger contract.
Hmm.
And it helps the Seahawks too, because it's like, you know, it gets them that momentum to be better. But with all these moves and these 1 year deals, I think they said that next year the Seahawks not only has a lot of draft picks next year from all these comp picks and whatnot, but they will have so much money to spend in 2025. So I'm kind of curious, man. I don't know. I'm kind of excited um to see all these changes.
Yeah, no, no,
Because
I am
yeah,
too. I mean, it's a
yeah,
whole new coaching staff too. It's gonna
yeah,
be
whole new everything, dude.
essentially one of the youngest coaching staffs in the
Yeah,
NFL, other than Leslie Frazier because he's
yeah,
old as shit. No, I'm just kidding. He's not that old.
yeah.
I mean, he's not Pete Carroll. Let's be real. But
Right.
I mean, he's up there in
I mean,
age. You
I
know.
mean, he gives off the vibe, and he looks older than Pete Carroll. Pete
Oh
Carroll
no,
has like
absolutely.
such
I
youthful energy,
I was gonna
you
say I
know.
don't think anyone in the league had as much youthful energy as like Pete Carroll did.
Exactly.
Right? He looks like one of the youngest coaches,
Right.
even though he was the oldest.
Right.
Um, But yeah, no, no, no. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think Mike McDonald was my guy. Like I wanted him as the
Yeah.
head coach. Like that was my prospect. As soon as we got knocked out of the playoffs and they announced Pete was, going to get canned, and I was just like, ooh, give me Mike McDonald.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I didn't have a bias because the Ravens are my, AFC team
Yeah.
or anything, but
Yeah.
I got to see like a lot of what they were doing. So I was just like, yeah, please give me him. And then yeah, so here we are, with the brand new coaching staff and all that stuff. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm intrigued by, the Sam Howell trade too.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
They're saying that he can potentially even like if he sorry to cut you out just
no, no,
to
no.
add a little
You're good.
side note, Sam Howell, like, hey man, he has a lot of potential. And also if he becomes a starter next year, like it's another prove it year because he's only going to get paid like the minimum $1 million.
Yeah.
And like if he does good as a backup now, or maybe shoot, you never know, he might win he might win the competition.
Yeah, he
You
might
know,
pull a Russ on, Matt
yeah,
Flynn kind of thing, but
exactly.
because
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Gino's in his last year of his contract. Howell's coming up. He's gonna. I mean, he did decent in
Yeah,
Washington.
yeah,
It's not like he did horrible.
yeah,
Um, there's other highly touted players that did, had a worse
right,
season than he did.
right.
Um, so yeah, I'm intrigued by it. I'm curious what we're gonna do. I still think we maybe go after a quarterback in the draft. I don't know yet though. I feel like we bolster the defense. It really is what's going to happen because we have like key offensive pieces. Tyler Lockett restructuring, DK still on the team.
Yeah,
JSN.
yeah. So
Noah
solid.
Noah Fant re-signed.
Yeah, Farrell Brown was a
Earl
good
Brown
signing.
came over.
So I think offensively, we're solid, like in terms of the skill positions.
Yeah,
But I think it's time for now to just load up on O line and linebackers. So I read that we're actually filling up solid depth everywhere, but the O line and the linebacking positions. Did you hear about the new signing just today? The DT from
yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah. The nose
Yeah,
tackle.
yeah. So that's another solid depth.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm excited to see what we can do with
Yeah.
what we've got. And hey, Aaron Donald is officially retired.
Yes.
So thank God.
Yeah.
And Greg Gaines is not even in. He's in Tampa now. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they got another guy in
Yeah. The
L.A.,
Rams
but
always have somebody.
they always got somebody. But it's not Aaron Donald where we have
Yeah.
to.
It's not.
We're
Yeah. The
He's not going to
nightmare
take
is
up
over.
four of our players to stop this guy.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
nightmare is officially over. It's Sam Howell's season. He will never experience the Aaron Donald trauma, and he's going to light up the Rams. He's finally the one to break the Rams curse.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I don't know if you saw the graphic of all the sacks that Aaron Donald had. They
No.
had like all the quarterbacks jerseys and they were varying in size. And the larger the jersey was the more sacks they had on that. And
Yeah.
the biggest jersey was Russ.
Yes. Oh man.
Man, that's kind of funny. But yeah, it was crazy to hear that.
That's so funny. I mean, yeah, dude. He like Russ was a fucking magnet to him. Yeah. But hey man, he was a beast.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's
Like,
fucking
isn't
Aaron
he
Donald's
yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. Like, isn't he like he's relatively like smaller than like Khalil Mack, for example, but
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
more skillful, stronger, I guess, than Khalil Mack. But Khalil Mack he just looks like a beast. Like, you don't want to cross him. But Aaron Donald is an actual beast. Like, just man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he is just a boulder. Just a
Yeah.
moving athletic boulder.
Yeah.
It's like the what was it? You see the interview, it was like on one of the podcasts or something with Puka Nacua,
No.
and he was just like, "Yeah, I was in the weight room, trying to activate my shoulder and trying to do all this stuff, and all I hear behind me was move." And so I moved, and apparently I didn't get out of the way or far enough away because in my ear again was move again. And so Puka Nacua was like talking about Aaron Donald. He's like, yeah, man, after that, I just ran out the gym. I was done. I didn't want to.
That's funny, dude. I'm sure Aaron Donald's a nice guy. I think he was just like,
Oh, yeah,
I think he was
for
just
sure.
punking him.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
hey, rookie, just like messing with the rookie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but oh man, yeah, Aaron Donald's a beast. Yeah,
Thank God we don't got
like
to deal with him anymore. Jeez.
yeah, I think as Hawks fan, we know how much more of a beast he is because we have to see it twice a year, every year.
Yeah. Twice a year, seeing Russ get sacked
Yeah,
because
dude.
Russ would try to do his little spin move that Aaron Donald figured out very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Crazy.
Hawks. I'm excited to keep seeing what's gonna happen, and um, yeah, I at this point I'm kind of excited for every little signing that they do because like I'm kind of getting a feeling of like they're just creating depth right now. Basically, they're creating cap space for the future. So I'm not expecting a huge big signing anymore. Not that there's like, I mean, there's still a good few big names out there, like a very small few, but not for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Um, Especially defense players, they're pretty much all signed. But I'm still excited for free agency all the way up until the draft. Oh, actually, one rumor I've read way before free agency, I think it was like a couple months ago, but a lot of people saying there is one quarterback steal in the draft. They
Mm.
were saying like they don't think the Hawks are going to go after obviously Penix, Bo Nix, McCarthy, Jaden McDaniels, or whatever his name is, Jaden Daniels or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously not Caleb Williams. So like none of those big names, but one sleeper that might fall to the Hawks like around late second or third round is that one guy. I forgot his name, but the quarterback from Florida State that led them to the undefeated season before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
isn't he in the draft as well?
yeah, he did
Yeah,
forego his senior season.
so he might be a sleeper.
Hmm.
Yeah, I read that somewhere, and then like no one talked about it again. Like I read it one time, and I was like, That's actually a pretty dope sleeper. And then no one ever talked about it again. So I was like, who knows, man? That might be a good sleeper. I'm still hyped on Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Especially how John Schneider has been following him for so long. Like, I trust John. You got to remember, recency bias is
Yeah.
the only reason why we're shitting on Russell Wilson. But dude, Russ gave the Hawks, and not just the Hawks himself, some of the greatest. If Russ isn't a Hall of Famer, I don't know what to say because he did so many crazy things. Um, and his stats showed it too, right?
Hmm.
Even though recency bias is shitting on him, but the 10 years or so, or maybe, yeah, 10 years, right? He was on the Seahawks, or maybe what, less than that, maybe whatever, close to 10
Yeah.
years. Dude, he was a magician. Like he was fucking solid. Um, so yeah, John Snyder, that was John Snyder's guy, wasn't it? Like, wasn't Pete Carroll like I think I remember reading Pete Carroll didn't really want Russ. It was John who wanted him the whole time, and then Pete finally like compromised.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So and plus Sam Howell isn't short, so he's height. I think he I didn't really watch any Commanders game except maybe a little bit of the one when they play the Hawks, but he can run too, right? I mean, he's not a runner, but
Hmm.
like he can still run.
Right.
But I know he has an arm and he's pretty precise. So I don't know, man. And he's still young. Like he's the same age as a majority of the top rookie quarterbacks coming in. He's 23, which is same age as I think Penix, JJ McCarthy, I think Bo Nix. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the same age as them. So
Yeah.
pretty much we got a free rookie with NFL experience, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, in the words of Russ, go Hawks.
Yeah. Go Hawks, or
Yeah.
I don't even know what he's also talking about Russ. Yeah, going to the Steelers with Justin Fields getting traded to. Jeez, man.
Yeah, dude.
This whole landscape of like players, and this year's going to be nuts because there's so many players
Yeah,
in different places. I'm like, oh
right,
geez,
right.
it just seems like it's more amplified this year compared to other years. I don't know. Maybe
100%.
that's
No,
maybe
I
that's just
mean,
me.
no, I feel the same way. I don't even know who's who anymore. The main reasons, because all the workhorse running backs are
Yeah,
literally everywhere else.
yeah, that's true. And they've
Yeah,
it's kind of funny because they've all went to opponents in the division, which is
yeah,
kind of weird
yeah.
to me. But
They all took their rivals. Yeah, it's funny. Um, yeah. Anyways, that's all the time we got for today. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
um, nah, I think we're good. Stay safe out there if you're traveling.
Yeah, drink a lot of water. I don't know why I
Yes.
said that, but yeah,
I
drink a
mean,
lot of
hey,
water.
that's true. You got to drink water. Stay hydrated. Stay
Yeah.
hydrated. Leads to headaches, dehydration,
Yeah.
among other things.
All right, man. Well, thanks. As we're signing off, keep talking with each other, keep thinking together, keep growing together. And we'll see y'all next time.